Runs with Courage, Chapter 19, Laughing Deer. Then, unexpectedly, only days before the white holiday, an empty sleeping space appeared next to mine. "Another girl is coming to us," the girls whispered. The room buzzed with excitement. Who would this new girl be? Where was she coming from? Why was she here? When the new girl arrived the next evening, small and fragile, she reminded me of how frightened I had been when I first came to school. She stood trembling in the middle of the room where Pinchfinger had left her. This new girl was young, perhaps only a few seasons older than Bear. She was much younger than the rest of us. My heart ached as I stared at her long black hair, knowing it would soon be cut. It was rich and full and hung down to the middle of her back. I had almost forgotten how long and beautiful hair was supposed to be. I studied her clothes. Her winter shawl had been removed. I thought of Ketch's fire, who would probably be burning it at that moment. "Come," I whispered to her in Lakota, "next to me." She grabbed me, sobbing, Lakota words pouring from her. "Who are you?" she asked. "Are you Lakota? Are you white?" "I am Four Winds," I said quietly, "and this is Waxtall and Moonawake." "I am Laughing Deer," she hiccuped between sobs. I stared at her. Laughing Deer had been my cousin's name. "You must not use this name any place but this room," Waxtall continued, stepping close and bending down to the little girl. I remembered hearing the same words when I first arrived. "You will get a white name, and you will have to use it," Waxtall said, helping the small child into her nightclothes. "But in this room we will call you Laughing Deer." The other girls stayed away. They dressed in nightclothes silently, watching the new child try to piece together what was happening. "Do you have anything from your Teospa?" Moonawake whispered. Laughing Deer nodded, pulling a small piece of sandstone from her pocket. It had been carved into a shape of a circle. Gently, I took the stone from her hand. "No, no," she cried, grabbing it for it. "Father gave it to me. I'm supposed to keep it with me. It will protect me." "I will keep it safe," she said, showing her the small hole in my pillow where I had tucked it carefully. "It must be hidden, or they will take it." The next morning Laughing Deer disappeared after breakfast and reappeared later in the schoolroom, tears frozen on her face. Her hair had been trimmed and tied into two small braids. Pinchfinger dragged her into the room and then stood watching. Laughing Deer huddled in the back of the room. When she saw me, she darted over and nestled between me and Ketch's fire. "Well, that's not really where you're supposed to sit," Miss Beatrice started to say, but then stopped. "But I suppose I will not allow it for now." Laughing Deer climbed into my lap, and even though this was not proper school behavior, Miss Beatrice said nothing. I stroked her hair, trying to comfort her, knowing how confused and frightened she felt. "Mary," Miss Beatrice announced to everyone, pointing to Laughing Deer, who looked completely bewildered. "Mary," we all repeated. "This is your new white name," I whispered softly in Lakota when Miss Beatrice turned back to the front. "This is what we will call you everywhere except for in our sleeping room. My white name is Sarah, and hers is Anna," I pointed to Waxtall, who was a few rows away. "I don't understand," she said in Lakota. No one moved except for Pinchfinger, who was at Laughing Deer's side immediately. "No," she said, pinching Laughing Deer's ear. "You do not speak those savage words. No, Mary." Tears welled up in Laughing Deer's eyes. I put my finger to my lips and shook my head. Over the next few days, Laughing Deer stayed close by me. I did all that I could to protect her from being hit. "You do not just call out when you have something to say," I told her on the second day of school. "You must stand and wait for the teacher to come to you or say your name." She nodded. "And remember, your name in this room is Mary. That is what everyone will call you. But also remember that your real name is Laughing Deer. Don't forget that." "I won't," she said. Miss Beatrice let Laughing Deer stay near me, and I helped her with lessons, teaching her about the stick marks called letters and how letters turned into words. She was a quick learner, and her spirit reminded me of Bear. She was curious about everything and excited when she mastered several small words. I wondered how Bear would react if he were sent to this school. He was bursting with constant excitement and full of curiosity, but when he didn't understand the reason for things, he was also stubborn. How would he survive at school when so many things didn't make sense? How would he survive in this white world? At night, Laughing Deer would take out the small rock from my pillow and hold it tightly. Sometimes she would cry as she lay in her sleeping space. Moonawake would rub her arm, or I would stroke her hair, knowing we couldn't take away her loneliness, but hoping somehow we could ease it. Sometimes I would lie awake and watch her sleep in the space next to mine. Other times I would go to the window and scrape the frost away and look down, longing to see Ketch's fire and his dance. Many times I felt like crying myself, knowing the way the teachers would work to remove the Indian from this young girl.